Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk About It with Q. I'm Kiana. I'm listening. I have a really special guest today. I'd like to give him a special welcome to Raj, who is definitely out here doing great things for the mental health community. He's an undergraduate student at his university studying psychology, but he has a vision to help others that he started his own website to help others before he's even gotten his degree yet, which is so awesome. Raj, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me on and giving me this opportunity, to talk about what I do and to spreading the message across. Thank you very much.
Oh, definitely. This is such a good message to spread. Like when Jake, who I know you've done previous interview with,
Yeah,
when he told me about you, I was like, oh my gosh. And when I went and I saw your website, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like just what the world needs right now. We
yeah,
definitely need
no,
it.
thank you. Yeah, I feel like we're especially in a time right now where mental health is becoming a big thing and a lot of people are being affected by it. So, yeah, just words like I really appreciate it. It motivates me more to do what I do.
Yeah. Now, how much more schooling do you have left?
So I'm in my final year. I've got like 3 months left.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm doing a master's degree, which is like another year. And then after that, hopefully, I can start seriously doing what I want to do and focus on it a bit more. But with
Oh, that's
uni, it's a
good.
bit harder. But I am,
Yeah.
at the moment, I am working. I work at a school. I've been working at school for like 3 weeks. It's a school dedicated to children with autism, and it's been like a really great experience. So that's like, I see it as like a nice way to like start off what I want to do in the future, which is like getting into like therapy side. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah, my son
Okay.
is on the spectrum and
Okay.
yeah, he's very high functioning. Well, they don't call it Asperger's anymore, but they used to
Yeah.
call it Asperger's, and now I don't know what they still. No, I think they just refer to everything as autism.
Yeah.
But he's high functioning, but yeah, no, it's good, awesome. It takes special, awesome people to work with children
Definitely.
like that. So that's
It
really
is.
awesome.
It's really opened my eyes a bit more, like a bit more about like autism and stuff because before I wasn't as educated, and now working at the school, I've learned so much through these kids that I work with as well, and it's been like a great experience so far.
I bet. What are their age groups?
So this school it starts from the age of 4 to 16, and
Oh,
the
okay.
class I'm working with are 10 and 11-year-old kids.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, my son's 12 and then my daughter's 10. And
Oh, okay, yeah.
and she so she's never been diagnosed as well actually her therapist when they did the initial evaluation, they did put her down as having Asperger's as well.
Oh,
Because
okay.
their dad has Asperger's and their grandmother actually on their side,
Yeah,
on that side. But yeah, so it's a fun age, that 10 and 11, 10 11 age. It's a fun one.
yeah, it is.
All right, well, I want to get into it. So, explain a little bit of your backstory and how you came about creating Open Talk.
Okay, so open talk. I've always had my mind like 2, 3 years ago of creating like this mental health page, like a helpline for people to talk because growing up, I have a brother who's now 28. He has paranoid schizophrenia. He was
Hmm.
diagnosed with it when he was 18, and when he was 18 when he first had it, I was like 11. So from a young age, I've seen how like schizophrenia has affected him, and between the age of 18 to 28, he's relapsed with it about 3, 4 times. And
Okay.
now he's sectioned in a mental health hospital due to an incident that happened 3 years ago. And that incident has like really like just like it affected me a lot
Hmm.
mentally as well during the time. This was in 2019, and then obviously I went off to uni, and I learned through that incident how important it is to talk to people about how you feel. So that's when I first started to like speak to. I have two sisters. One of my sisters that lived near me at the time, I used
Hmm.
to go around hers a lot, and we used to have these like really deep discussions. And like through her, I learned to open up about feelings a bit more. And then in and then last year, around this time last year, I went through another phase where I basically went through like a bad breakup, and it
Yeah.
really affected me.
Hmm.
Thinking back at it, it was like I'm not sure why it affected me as much, but it's like with mental health, it can be really spontaneous. Like it can affect
Yes.
you. It can affect you in any situations where you feel like, oh, it won't affect me. I'll stay strong. And like when this breakup happened, it affected me like really bad, and like I was going through like it was like 2 3 days of me just feeling depressed, low in mood, and then one day I had both my sisters with me, and I was speaking to them, and they really like helped me a lot. And then ever since I had that talk, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start improving my mental health, which I did. I did like variety of stuff. I started like eating healthier, trying to. Well, it was during lockdown here, so I was going on runs and stuff, which really helped me.
Oh, I bet.
And then after staying at my sister's for a few days, I went back to my uni house with my uni mates. There's 5 of them, and they really helped me out a lot as well during that period. And I could openly talk to them as well. And then I got the idea of open talk during that time. I was like, okay, I'm going to create this website, which I literally like in a day I made it, and then I showed it to a few people. They were like, "Oh, it's a great idea." So then I made the page, Instagram page. I put the website on it, and yeah, that's how it all began. Really, I just went through something. Everyone goes through a hard time in their life, and I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity to try and make sure no one goes through what I have, or what my brother has, or the people around me growing up has. And yeah, that's the main reason why I started Open Talk, so people know not to feel alone and to open up about their problems.
Yeah, I think that's such a good message because I think that in the mental health community, there's still that big stigma of like it needing to be hush hush or,
Yeah,
that you don't
definitely.
talk about it. And that's the one thing that you do need to do is talk about it.
Of
So
course.
that's awesome. So now with your, have you gained a following like in terms of people reaching out to you and stuff like that? And how hard is it to
Um,
keep in touch? How hard is it to be able to reach back out, going into school and working now too?
definitely. So when I first opened the page, I wasn't expecting like that many people to reach out to me because like I've just started this. I've made it clear I'm not qualified. I'm just a student. But
Yeah.
I was actually surprised. I had like so within the first few months of me open talk, I had a few people reach out to me. I remember one person reached out to me who was going up through a tough breakup, and they were talking about how they were smoking weed and it wasn't helping them. So I spoke to them about their problems. Um, I had a few other people messaging me about the same thing about breakups. I had someone messaging me about like grief, bereavement,
Hmm.
like how they lost someone and they're struggling with it. Um, and then I was a bit surprised at first that this many people reached out to me, and then I had people from like India reaching out to me, which I
Oh
was surprised
wow.
about. And like it made me realize as well, it's not just like, so I'm from the UK, and obviously it's not just like what a problem in just my country. I feel like
Yeah.
the lack of mental health services in lots of different countries is a problem.
Hmm.
And yeah, especially in India as well, when I had those people reach out to me, I realized they really have like this lack of mental health service, and that's why they're obviously reaching out to someone like me who hasn't got a big following at all. So it
Yeah.
really like opened my eyes about how this is more of an international problem.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it is an international problem. I think that the a lot of the different countries don't take mental health as seriously as it should be
Yeah.
taken. Well, now, so what does a typical open day or open talk day look like for you? Like, do you go through your, every day you kind of check the
Um.
emails or,
So before, because obviously now I'm a lot busier with like work and uni,
yeah.
but before I used to try and get like content out every day. So I talk about like different mental health disorders. I'll check my DMs regularly. Um, I've before I used to get a lot of DMs. Now it's definitely died down a bit, but I'm trying to work on it again. I'm trying to like put out more stuff. I'm trying to. I've been in touch with some people recently. Just like I'm checking up on them type thing.
Hmm.
But mainly with open talk, it's not like I don't see it as a say it like a job. It's just more of like it's something that I just want to do. It's more like how to say it, not like a hobby, but like I go on it as often as I can, and I make sure like the people who follow my page know they're more than welcome to message me whenever they want.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really awesome because I feel like, yeah, because when I looked at the website, I was like, this is really, really nice that like you give your personal information, like, hey, just contact me. It's really
Yeah.
like it's very personable. I can see how people would reach out to it, and I could see how like your vision for doing this is just it's awesome. Now, when you become a therapist, what kind of therapy do you think that you want to get into, or do you not have a specific niche yet?
I don't have like a specific type of therapy I want to get into. I'd like to say I have my own style of dealing with things. I don't follow like a specific type of therapy, like cognitive behavioral therapy or
Yeah,
like psychotherapy or any of that. I just use my own style. I wouldn't even say it's like therapy. When I talk to people through open talk, it's more like a friend to friend conversation.
yeah,
I'll be like, "Oh, what's up, man? What's your problem?" And then they'll tell me. And then I feel like it's important, especially as a therapist, that you can relate to them. Like relating to them makes them feel a bit more at ease. Like most people who reached out to me, I could relate with most of their stuff, and it made them feel very comfortable to talk about anything they want.
yeah,
And yeah, and it is important that you make them feel comfortable as well. As I'm only like an Instagram page, I can't like try and act like a professional. I literally tell them, treat me as a friend, treat me as someone that you've known for a while. Just hit me with your problems, and I'll talk to
yeah.
you about it. So yeah,
That's really good because a lot of people don't have a strong support system. So, like, some people don't have close friends or family that they feel
yeah,
comfortable enough talking about with their problems. So, for you to put yourself in that position, it speaks volumes.
yeah.
Because, yeah, it's wonderful. So now, what do you so I know your website, it provides some really good life tips. I saw on there like about self-care and depression and friendship. I
Yeah,
think family was on there, heartbreak, like you said, bereavement, education, drugs, and the lockdown, which I feel like the lockdown did a number on all of us big
yeah,
time.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I think that people who already had mental health issues, it made it worse. I think that people who didn't have mental health issues or didn't discover that they had mental health issues yet until the lockdown
Found,
happened.
yeah, definitely. It's affected a lot of people here as well. Like if you see some of the stats, especially around the world, like lockdown has increased a lot of suicide and a lot of mental health problems.
Hmm.
So I felt like making open talk during that period was important to me. So like people know, like, to during lockdown, what I did most of the time was just sit in my room by myself. I
Yep.
speak to my friends now and then, but I spent more time with myself, and I saw how it affected me a bit as well, and how it affected like some of the relationship around me. Like that
Hmm.
breakup I went through a year ago, lockdown did have an effect on it in a way, but then there was a load of other problems as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's important, like especially during that time, people knew that they're not alone.
Yeah, that's definitely true because it can be rough out there thinking that you are alone. Now I
Mm.
know one of the life tips on there was about self-care and stuff like that. What do you do for self-care for yourself?
So for self care, recently I've been very out of touch with it. I can't lie, because of university and work and
I'm
stress and
sure.
stuff. But what I preached a lot to my people was like, who reached out to me was like, it's running was the first thing I turned to when I felt really mentally low. Just put on some headphones, some music, just go for a run or even like a walk. Just spend like 10 minutes outside, and
Yeah.
it helps you collect your thoughts a bit, like organize your thoughts a bit.
Hmm.
And it's like it really motivated me to do more, because I discovered how unfit I was when I went on my first run, and I was like, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on like a 5 kilometer run as often as I can every week, like 3 or 4 times a week,
Yeah.
try and improve my fitness. And I did. And then I was like, okay, I want to start seeing more improvement. So I started eating more healthy. Sorry, not eating more. I was eating more healthy, and that had like a feel good factor on me, because like I wasn't eating properly during lockdown as well, and then to start eating healthier and seeing the effect it had on me at the time, it was doing a lot of justice for me.
Yeah.
And then I turned to boxing as well, because like a lot of people say boxing is a good way to get your feelings out, get your emotions out.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it helped me a lot during the time. Like I remember me and my housemate Isaac, we would just get on some pads. Like I had like these really cheap pads, and we'll just do some pad sessions and just let it all out, and it did me a lot of justice at the time. Like, it made me feel so much better getting my emotions out.
Yeah.
So with self-care, one thing I'll definitely say is fitness and looking after your body helps your mind a lot. So
Oh
that's
yeah, it
definitely one
definitely
thing.
does. Yeah, it definitely
Definitely
does.
does.
Even chemically, it raises the
100%.
serotonin in your brain and
Exactly.
all the good chemicals in there. Yeah.
100%.
Well, is it hard for you to I know you said with self-care right now it's kind of hard, but
Yeah.
right now do you still do any of the activities that you were doing before, or
Um, Not at the moment, because now that I'm working as well as uni work, I haven't got the time. But um, my housemates have been going gym, so I'm going to be joining them this week again when
oh,
I
that's
go back.
good.
So I'm going to go in gym and doing that as much as I can, and I feel like I'll get the best out of the gym hopefully. And I've been eating a lot more healthier again recently. I lost a bit of weight, so that makes me feel a bit better about myself. So yeah,
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Now, what's one thing that Open Talk did that you didn't expect it to do?
help people. Like, I obviously I wanted to help people, and at first when I made it, I was like, who's going to reach out to me about their mental health problems? Like, I'm not qualified. I was what, 18 at the time, 18, 19 at the time, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, no one's going to trust me. And then as soon as I opened it, I actually got a few messages. I was like, wow, like, this is my chance to like help people. And then after helping those people, it just made me want to help more people and keep on going. And that's why I'm still doing open talk.
That's awesome. So now, in your opinion, what's the best, most important personality strength, trait or strength that someone would need to be a therapist?
Um, that's a very good question. In my opinion, um, one good personality is being good with your words.
Hmm.
Um, being sociable, good with your words, because like when you're dealing with someone who's reaching out for you mentally, it's important that you let them know that you're there for them and like you are saying the right things to them, because they are very vulnerable state, and like if you say the wrong things it can hurt them,
Yeah.
and you can lose that trust that you have with them. So you need to make them feel comfortable with your words and let them know that you're there for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. So you need to be very outgoing as well.
Yeah, definitely. And then what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone wanting to start a career as a therapist?
Starting a career as a therapist, you need to have the right motivation behind you, definitely. So with me, the motivations I've had is I've seen how it affects friends, family
Hmm.
members. Because I have a brother who's got mental health disorder. My mum has bipolar as well.
Okay, yeah,
So,
I have bipolar
so
disorder. Yeah.
yeah. So growing up, I've seen how that can affect an individual and their moods. And then I've been through dark periods. At first, when I was like mentally low, I tried telling myself, "Oh, like, I haven't got any problem. It's just me being upset. I'm
Yeah.
not uh, like it's not my mental health." But then, over time, I started accepting like these things happen spontaneously, and like as much as you like to think you're mentally strong, in some situations your mental health just gives up on you. Like I said earlier, so it's
Hmm.
important, like, you are aware of that and you are aware of the people that are around you that you can open up to and stuff. And as a therapist as well, it's important for you to understand your own mental health. Because if you can't understand your own mental health, then you won't be able to understand other people's mental health.
Good point.
If you know what I mean? So now that I'm at a point where I know who I can go to if I feel mentally low, what to do when I'm feeling mentally low, I'm able to like teach that to other people, like preach that to others.
Yeah,
So yeah, I feel like that's definitely important as well, just to know, be aware of your own mental health as a therapist.
definitely. That's so true. Now, have you ever seen a therapist yourself?
No, I haven't actually. I've thought about it many times. Over here as well. When I've had a person reach out to me, and I've told them to refer themselves to the GP. So here you get general practitioners, and
Mhm.
you try and get a referral through them to psychiatrists. And recently, with most people, the case have been it's really hard for to get help, which is kind of shocking, to be honest. Like this one person I
Yeah.
know, they've tried reaching out to therapists many times. They've asked for therapy, and like they're just not getting anything in return, and it's kind of shocking, to be honest. But therapy, even though I haven't had any therapy myself, I'd say for me, talking to friends and families have been therapy for me in itself,
Oh, yeah,
and it's
that's
helped
definitely
me
a
out
form
as
of
well.
therapy.
Yeah, 100%. But professionally, I haven't had any therapy at all.
All right. Well, so you just mentioned, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. My thoughts are going crazy here. Um, so you just mentioned about how, oh, I totally lost my train of thought there. Never mind. I'll come back to it if I remember.
Okay.
um, so basically, you started open talk. Now because of your mom's background and your brother's background, that made you want to be a therapist in the beginning in the first place?
So when I was in like year 10, so I was about 15, when you're doing your studies here, you go to your GCSEs, and you can select which like subjects you want to do for your
Yeah.
GCSEs, and I chose psychology, mainly because of what like I wanted to understand a bit more about my brother's condition,
Yeah.
bit more about my mum, so I chose psychology, and I did that for about 2 years, and I was like, okay, this is something definitely I want to do more. And then I did it for another 2 years as an A level subject, which is something you do before going into uni. And
Okay.
then it made me understand more about schizophrenia, definitely, and bipolar, and like depression and all the other disorders there are. Because I've had also, as well as like family, I've also seen it in friends as
Yeah.
well, who's gone through really tough times, who self harmed, who had suicidal thoughts. And obviously at the time I wasn't as educated much on it, but I was really keen to know more about it, so I did it. And then yeah, and then I was like, okay, this is something I definitely want to do as a career, and now I'm doing it at a uni level.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So now when you're done, you'll have your master's, right?
So right now I'm doing my undergraduate degree. I'll have my undergraduate degree, and then I'm going to do a master's degree, and hopefully by end of next year I'll have that.
Awesome. Now are you gonna how do you after you get out of uni, are you gonna go straight to the master's degree, or are you gonna stop and work as a therapist first and then work your way through the master's degree?
I'm going to do my master's degree, and I'm going to continue with the current job I have, which is working at this school dedicated to kids with autism, because I feel like that's like a great experience to have.
Yeah.
Because dealing with such vulnerable kids like that and helping with their emotional state, I feel like it's like a nice, good step before you enter the real world of therapy, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
So
agree.
yeah, so that is my plan, and then hopefully after my masters, I could go into looking into therapy, getting some training, and yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, do you want to start your own practice, or I guess it
Uh,
would be your own practice.
Definitely, that is my goal in life. That won't be for another few years. So first, I'll be working with the NHS here,
Oh, okay.
hopefully, for a few years, and then I'll definitely do want to do something on my own, because I feel like it's a lot harder to get help with the NHS around here, and I feel like it's doing my own thing. Or I just want to help as many people as I can. Sorry,
Yeah,
and that's the aim. Yeah,
that's awesome. And NHS is the National Health
the National Health Service here. Yeah,
Services. Okay. All
yeah.
right. I wonder if they're the same as over here. Well, we have gosh, what is ours called? Well, I don't know, but I know that different places are definitely have different systems or whatever
Yeah,
that they go
yeah.
by. And
Here everything is free, but like at the
oh
same
wow.
time, it's definitely not funded as much as it should be. Like recently, it's been like a big talk how the NHS, the mental health service they provide is very unfunded, and a lot of people have been asking it to be more funded and funded. There's a lot of mental health charities that have been pushing the government to try and get it more funded, because there's a lot of people who need help, who aren't getting the help they need, or
Yeah.
struggling to get help, struggling to get referrals, struggling to get therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like it's a big problem in this country, but it's definitely a big problem in a load of different countries as well.
Yeah, yeah, I know for here in the United States, it's kind of hard. Like, I know it takes a little while. Like you said, you have to go to your general practitioner, then you have to get referrals, and then um, there's intake, and then there's making sure you can find the right therapist too. And sometimes that can be a challenge, trying to go through
Hmm.
different therapists and everything. Because I know I've had a therapist for many years now, and luckily I stuck with him, and him and I have a really good rapport, but I thought about switching therapists at a time.
Yeah,
And then but part of what held me back was I'm going to have to find a new person and try, create that rapport with them. And then they're going to have to learn all my whole backstory and all the
yeah,
things. And so right now I'm with my therapist still, but I actually signed up for a program. It's called IOP, Intensive Outpatient Program. And so what it is that it's like you get hospital care, but only during the daytime. So like
oh, okay,
it's Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 12:30. So I would go to the hospital and I would get group therapies, and I'd meet with a psychiatrist and a
yeah,
psychologist and a therapist and everything. And I think it's like a 2 to 6 week program. So it'll help get get everything on track, because I have bipolar disorder.
yeah,
I have really bad anxiety, ADHD, and then I have borderline personality disorder, which is a big one that
okay.
people that one has a really big misunderstanding in the world.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
People look at these films and stuff like that and think, oh,
Yes.
borderline personality is like the movie Split where they just switch personalities. It's not like that at all.
Exactly. It's not at
It's not
all.
like
It's
that.
not at all. In fact, I plan to dedicate one of my episodes to borderline personality disorder, because I think there's such a big misconception about it. Because
Definitely.
I actually ended up diagnosing myself with it because I couldn't figure out what was going on inside of me,
Yeah.
and and um and like all the signs and symptoms that I was feeling weren't the bipolar disorder. And so I brought this idea to my therapist, and he was like, wow, you're right, that's exactly what's going on. But I did have like a little bit of a stigma attached to it myself, because I had
Yeah.
never heard of it before, except for in the context of what you said, like, splitting personalities
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But luckily, and I haven't actually ever gotten like true treatment for it, like my therapist and I. That's why I'm hoping that when I go into this program I can get some real treatment for it, because my therapist and I tend to do a lot of like one woman comedy show in there, and I tend to deflect a
Yeah.
little bit at times, or we end up going off on tangents, and ends up into a venting session, as opposed to like doing the work in there to really work through the feelings that I'm having and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that program will help out with that.
Definitely. Yeah, like you said with BPD, there's a big like misunderstanding about it across. And I love how obviously you're doing this podcast. You're talking about your experience with BPD, anxiety, bipolar, because especially with BPD, I think people what they don't get is people with that disorder, they have like really extreme mood swings and they have difficulty maintaining certain relationships
Mm-hmm.
with other people and stuff like that. And they just basically like worry about maintaining relationships most of the time, whereas people think, oh, it's just where they like switch different personalities when that's not true at all.
Yeah, yeah. It was funny because when I was younger and I always heard of it, like it made me feel like it was like a multiple personality disorder or something like
Yeah.
that, when really it's not at all. Yeah. So what would you say it's hard to would you say that it's hard for you to um juggle everything that you're doing right now, or like is it stressful, or is it going well, like with
Um.
work and school and open talk and other life
r-
stuff that you have going on?
right now, I say mainly uni is what's stressing me the most because it's obviously like I'm coming towards the end of the year, need to get coursework done, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. But with everything in general right now, things have been a lot better for me, I'd say. Like beginning of the year was a bit tough. Had a lot of stuff going on. But now, like, I feel like I've collected everything together. I have a clear plan of what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it. With open talk, never feel stressful with open talk because it's just something I'm passionate about,
Yeah.
and I get out what I can. I do what I can. Doing stuff like these podcast shows that I'm going in the right direction, because like I never, when I first started open talk, never first thought I'd do a podcast, and then Jake hit me up, and that was amazing feeling. And now I'm doing this with you, which is like a great opportunity for me to spread the message. So yeah, right now, definitely no stress. I just feel like I'm heading towards the right direction, towards what I want to achieve.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now I know you said that you had a breakup that kind of hit you really hard.
Yes.
Um that was your dark time, I guess you would say.
Yeah. It's one of my dark times. Obviously in 2019 with the incident with my brother, that was a really dark period for me as well. That affected me for a long time, and just thinking about it affected me. But like, I'd say the breakup was more short term
Yeah.
effect, but it hit me hard. Like it was like a surprise. Like I guess it was mainly to do with the shock of someone leaving you when you
Yeah,
never had
yeah.
it before. Like I never, it was my first relationship and I never experienced someone leaving me. So I'd
Yeah.
say I guess it was that shock. It was definitely short time, but it definitely hit me hard. And obviously talking to my sisters whilst I was going through that dark period, obviously it's difficult as well because I kept that relationship a secret, but then having to tell your sisters right at the end of the relationship as well was
Oh
hard.
gosh,
But
yeah.
at the same time, it was the right thing for me to do, and it from that I've learned I could talk about anything with them.
Yeah. And now are your sisters and you still close to this day?
Yeah, 100%. My sisters are like my second and third mum to me, so I feel like
Oh.
I could definitely talk to them about anything. I'm still close to them to this day. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And you still have a relationship with your mom and everything?
Yeah. I see my parents now and then. With uni, it's tough going back to my hometown because I live an hour and a half away from home, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
hard for me to go
Yeah,
to
to
see
get
them. Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Understandable. Now, growing up with a bipolar parent, how was that for you? Like, was there a
Um.
lot of did she
So
have a lot of, yeah, how was it?
yeah. Growing up definitely difficult because I had no idea about it. Like, mum would go through these episodes of where she's like really angry to really like sad, upset to really happy was confusing.
Mhm.
But obviously growing up and educating myself more on it, it's helped me deal with it a lot better growing up as well. She hasn't had a episode um recently because she's been dealing better with it herself. So yeah.
That's good. Now, when you were younger, was it something that was talked about, or did you guys not know what was going on with
Um
her?
no idea, especially when I was younger, no idea like about mental health stuff. I'd say until like I'd say from like the age 12 onwards is when I started like educating myself more on it and getting to understand like what's going on and stuff. But
Yeah.
before that, like I used to be confused to why 1 minute she'd be like angry, upset, and next minute like really happy, and it would just switch back and forth.
Yep. My mom is actually bipolar too, so I can relate
Yeah,
to growing up in that kind of environment. And there was a lot of like sleeping. She slept a lot.
yeah,
Um, and then she would be, like you said, really angry, or then like she would go on these shopping sprees and like bring us back all this stuff and like be super
yeah,
happy and all that kind of stuff. It was definitely tough. And growing up, we didn't know. She never told us that she was bipolar. So, like you said, I was very
okay,
confused as to why, like,
yeah,
why she was like that. And then as I got older and figured it out, and then when I got diagnosed myself, I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay, like I can totally relate, and I totally see where, like, why she was having such a hard time, because it's definitely something
It's
that isn't
definitely
easy.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely not something that is easy to live with. And
definitely.
I have an older daughter who's 22, and she's bipolar also, and so
Oh,
she,
okay.
yeah, it is very. I always like to talk about whether or not things are like how much genetics play a role in mental health, and then
Oh,
how much
definitely.
like nature versus nurture kind of.
Yeah, 100%.
Because like for us in our environment right now, like I'm a very anxious person, so I know that, and I try my best not to show my anxiousness to my children, but they see it. So sometimes I
Yeah.
wonder, are they anxious because I'm anxious? Or are they anxious because they
It
really,
could be
because it's a genetic,
genetic.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a
I
genetic
I can
composition.
relate to that as well because so my mum's told me her mum had mental health problems like depression. Her brother, my uncle, he committed suicide when I was about 5. So
Oh, okay.
this was many years ago.
Yeah.
I was really young, so I didn't know much about it. But he had mental health problems, which led to suicide. My mum has another brother who suffers mentally as well. My other uncle, and yeah, it's definitely a question of nature versus nurture. Definitely, I feel like genetics play a role, and it's difficult, in certain families having to grow up in an environment like that where
Yeah. Yeah,
where
definitely.
some family members have these mental health disorders, and obviously some don't, and it's just really hard to grow up against.
It is
Yeah,
definitely. Like, cause I always wonder, like for my kids and for myself, like genetically, yes, it was there, but some things I think were, could be learned behavior also
yeah,
from having a parent or that
just
is in a
watching
mental
their
health.
behavior and stuff. Yeah,
Exactly. So I always want that has always been a really big thing for me is nature versus nurture. I do definitely think that genetics come into play 100%. But
definitely. Yeah,
I think that the environment makes it too, and that's why like they always say like you have to break the cycle.
yeah,
Yeah, so I always tend to try to do that. Like I try, like my kids are in therapy. They've been in therapy for a little while
that's
now.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, just because they have self regulation issues and stuff like that. So it teaches them how to regulate their emotions properly and teaches them to speak up about their emotions. And it's
definitely.
funny
That's
because my son, the first time he went to therapy, he goes, "Mom, I really think everybody should have someone to talk to." And I was like, I know,
exactly.
right? I was like, yes, very true. It's so true that in this world you do need somebody to talk to.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now, what do you so this is kind of jumping topics here, but
Yep.
do you have any songs or movies that really speak to you about mental health that you'd recommend?
Wow. Songs or movies? With songs, there isn't like a specific song that like speaks about mental health to me. I just listen. So like when I said earlier, like when I go for a run, or when I'm by myself and I just want to motivate myself, there are certain songs out there that will help you motivate yourself, like mentally, and it's
Yeah.
mainly personal preferences. Like
Yeah,
I
true.
I like listen to hip hop, rap, and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
sometimes,
so do I.
when I play those type of like hard hitting like rap songs, like it makes me get in my feelings, my thoughts. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yep. No, I get that. That's what I do too, especially when I'm
Yeah,
working out. When I'm working out, I like to like really have some hardcore like rap music on because it just kind of it makes you feel.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. It kind of makes you feel like empowered or something. I
it
feel
gets you in that
it
mood. It
gives.
gets
It
you in that
does. It
mood.
gets you pumped. It really
Yeah.
does. Um, yeah. So there's this song. So it's not a rap song, but it's you'll have to listen to it. It's called "Drive" by a group called Incubus, and
Okay.
it's a song that I like totally relate. I call it the anxiety song. So it's like a song that has to do with anxiety, or I deemed it a song that had to do with anxiety, but it's a really good one. Um, and I'm trying to think what other there was a movie that was really good that I can't remember what it's called now. But yeah, I think that music definitely helps situations with people. Oh, I know. I have another question. Do you meditate?
Uh, I don't meditate. Sometimes I just like I used to do yoga when my mum was doing it. That kind of
Okay.
helped a bit, just like doing some stretches, just like I pray a lot as well. Pray, I'm a
Okay, yeah,
religious person. Praying is definitely helps with my peace of mind.
definitely.
Ever since like the whole breakup thing, I turned to praying. I pray when I wake up, pray when I go to sleep, and it makes me feel a lot better about myself. So that's definitely it. But I say praying and meditating is the same. Obviously,
Yeah,
when you're
I think
religious, you
so.
pray. So yeah,
Yeah,
praying definitely helps me out a lot.
definitely. Yeah, I know. I've tried to meditate over and over again, but my attention span is not good for that at all.
You need to
I've
be at a
tried.
really calm state.
Yes, exactly. And then usually, like
Mm,
when I tried to take yoga too when I went to college, and I took a college yoga class, and at the end of it, they always had to wake me up because at the end, when you're supposed to be like meditating and relaxing,
yeah,
I would just fall asleep. So instead, I would just take a little nap, and then they'd have to get me up. But I felt refreshed after. But yeah, I've been wanting to try to meditate more, or at least have
yeah,
some kind of like time to quiet my mind and gather my
definitely,
thoughts kind of.
definitely
Yeah,
helps.
it does. It definitely does help. So, what do you see in the future for Open Talk?
The future for open talk, same as now, really, just even helping just like one person a month or one person a year is no difference to me. At least I'm helping someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And whoever reaches out to me, I'm 100% helping, man. It's something that I'll continue doing forever and forever. And whilst I'm doing that as well, obviously, I'll try and put out awareness, as much awareness during that period as well on my Instagram page. You know, I feel like with some people who followed me, they're mainly like friends from back home and stuff. I'd say they probably wasn't aware of these certain different disorders and stuff like that. So I feel
yeah,
like making people aware of specific disorders is very important. So that's something I'll keep on striving to do in the future as well. But with open talk, I'm just going to keep on doing what I do now, really.
okay, okay. Yeah, no, I think you're right about people being educated on the different types of disorders, because I think
Yeah,
that people just think of mental illness and they think of like depression, anxiety,
yeah,
like like a couple top ones that they think of, and they don't really know the whole story about all the different
exactly. There's so
things.
many out there.
Yeah. In fact, like schizophrenia, I didn't know a lot about it when I was younger at all. And then I have a friend right now currently, or more of an acquaintance, but um he has schizophrenia. And so
Yeah,
I wanted to kind of like talk to him about it, because I don't know fully everything about it that I should know, I don't think. I think
yeah,
it's another one that's very there's a misconception with it.
100% there is. With from what I've seen and heard from people, they like to associate schizophrenia with like serial killers, but that's not the
Yes.
case is at all.
Yeah,
With
not at all.
with schizophrenia, it's like the person literally can't help the thoughts in their head. Some people hear stuff. It's like delusions,
Yeah.
hallucinations, and like it really affects their mental health because they're confused, don't know what to do, don't know who they can go to about stuff, and like if they don't get the help they need, they can end up at like a really vulnerable point, which is what happened to my brother many times.
Yeah. How many so now your brother growing up, how did they figure out that he had schizophrenia?
So the first episode he has, he wasn't at home, he was at uni. His friend made us aware that he hasn't been himself, and then we had to like obviously drive and try and get him, but it was already too late. Like he was in a episode, like he's relapsed, and like it got like really serious. Police had to get involved, and then when
Oh,
obviously when police gets involved with someone who's really mentally vulnerable, they get sectioned to hospital.
yeah.
So he got put into hospital, and yeah, they obviously assessed him. They were like, he's got paranoid schizophrenia, he's got depression, and he went through a treatment. Few months he did it, and then obviously they send him away with medication and stuff.
Yeah.
But then it's like they'll do fine in the first like few months, few years, whatever, and like
Mhm.
they hit a low point because like everyone obviously always hits a low point, and like
Yeah.
I guess he just didn't know how to deal with it. He stopped taking his medication. He turned to weed. Like he smoked. He used to smoke a lot of weed.
Mhm.
Alcohol, I guess, didn't help in the situation as well. And like
Yeah.
he'd relapse, and it would just be a repeat. You'd get sectioned, come out of hospital, start doing well. Something happens,
Yeah.
turn to the bad stuff, relapse, and it was just like a
Yeah.
repeat. And then yeah,
Now the medications, would he stop taking them? Because I know, because for bipolar disorder, one of the big things that happens with us, unfortunately, is that you are taking the medication and then you say, "Oh, I'm starting to feel better, so I don't need to take this medication anymore. I'm feeling fine now." When really it's the medication that's helping you feel fine. Was
yeah.
that kind of what was happening too, or did he just not
I
want to take the
think
medication?
since he was suffering with schizophrenia, I think it's more of the fact like it it's like he was getting these certain thoughts, and
Yeah.
like some thoughts like he wanted to have, some thoughts he didn't, and he maybe thought the medication was stopping him from having these certain thoughts.
Ah, okay.
So he
Yeah.
stopped taking them, and it was a matter of like when he was low, he's like he puts everything off. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna take this. I'm not gonna speak to this person as well. So I feel like it's a mixture of those stuff that
Yeah.
what caused him to stop taking his medication.
And now, are you guys? No, I know you said he's in a hospital now. Or do you guys? Does your family visit him or keep in touch with him? How does that work?
Yeah, my parents visit him every week. With COVID, it's a lot harder to go visit him for them.
Yeah.
Obviously, with uni and stuff, for me, it's very difficult to go see
Well,
him because I'm
yeah.
further away. But yeah, my parents do go visit him. They try to visit him once a week.
Oh, okay. And how is he doing in the hospital? Is he doing much better?
Uh, yeah, I think he is a lot better compared to how he was before, and he's still got a long way to go because clearly the fact that he's relapsed so many times throughout those years has shown like he needs to get like the right help he needs, and he needs
Yeah.
to spend more time on getting better. So he's been there since 2019.
Okay.
So I guess he'll be there maybe for a few more years, not sure. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. And like, I'm assuming it's a program where there's therapies involved and
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
therapy. There's therapy involved. He's offered like different lessons and stuff to help him understand his mental health a bit
Uh
better.
huh.
Um, he, yeah, so yeah, therapy is involved, and obviously medication and stuff is involved as well.
Yeah. And would you say, I don't know if you know much about the healthcare system over here, but um so the so you said your health insurance is free there, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome for starters. um but so now is the process to get into a hospital hard, or like, cuz I know some
Uh,
places it is hard to get into hospitals or get into programs.
I'd say it's definitely is. I think here they try and like limit it to depending on how serious they think it is. So like if like a person reaches out to them with suicidal thoughts, I think what they tend to do is they try and deal it without sending them to hospital,
Yeah.
just through like normal therapy over the phone and stuff. But I feel like one thing they definitely need to do here. Obviously, we are grateful for the free service that we get here
Yeah.
because a lot of other countries you have to pay for stuff like this.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like they need to start taking mental health a bit more seriously because I've had people where I remember this one person that reached out to me last year. They reached out to this helpline saying like they don't feel good. They had a breakup. They felt suicidal and stuff. And obviously, it's very hard for that person to speak about it with them. So they were
Yeah.
like, "Can I have like a few like minutes to like gather my thoughts?" And then the person on the other end of the helpline was like, "Oh, sorry, I have to leave you now. But if you want to talk about it, you could try reaching out again." And I feel like
Oh
stuff like that
gosh.
is very inappropriate. Like stuff
Yeah.
like this should be taken a lot more seriously and cautiously.
Yeah, no, definitely with suicide too. Like, I think that people don't realize like how grave of a situation it is. Because I
It
know for
is
myself,
100%.
I've hospitalized myself 3 times for being suicidal in my lifetime, and
Yeah.
it's this very, very serious thing. And people, and I always there's always that like, oh well, you shouldn't uh you shouldn't do that to your family and your friends and all that kind of stuff. But it's like that person's not doing that to anybody. They're suffering. They are hurting so badly that they see that that's their only answer. And I wish that there was more a better response to suicide. I think that suicide has this like, or being suicidal has this
Yeah.
big like, mark on it, where it makes it hard for some people to speak up. I used to never be able to speak up about it until it got really bad. But now
Yeah.
I know, I let people know like, hey, I'm having suicidal ideation, I'm having thoughts about it. I speak up. I let people know. I let my friends and family know. I let my therapist know. And you just really have to be open about it, even though there's such a strong stigma attached to it. There really is.
Yeah, 100%.
And especially with well, all mental illness in this is a stigma. Like, so I'm 42 and in I grew up like where mental illness was talked about, but not like it was like something that like, oh, you're bipolar. Oh my gosh. Like, whoa.
Yeah,
It was
they're
such
like
a big thing
scared.
to yeah, exactly. People would get scared about it. And now it's not so much. And I think that what has helped a little bit, and I hate to say it, but I think that the entertainment world speaking up about things, like famous people coming on the air and saying, "Oh, I have
Definitely,
mental
yeah.
health issues" and stuff like that. I think that's definitely opened up the floor for regular people to feel comfortable talking about it too, or
100%, yeah.
yeah, or like being able to say, "Hey, I have a problem." Also, I think.
Yeah, it like kind of leads the way for people, seeing like these celebrities role and like their role models open up about mental health. It opens up a path for more and more people to open up about their mental health. Like recently in the UK, there's been like footballers who decided to open about their mental health, and they've encouraged other footballers also to open up as a mental health. These athletes, and that's obviously caused more and more footballers to open up about it, which is like really good to see.
That's really good because in that area, nobody really speaks up about that kind of
Definitely
stuff,
no. They
and
they only see
especially
the entertainment side of it. They don't see
yeah.
like behind the scene what's going on. So it's like really
Exactly,
good.
or they think that people forget that they're real people with real problems.
That's exactly that.
Yeah, and I this is you said football and all that. What I was thinking also is so overall, and I might be jumping topics really huge here, but
Yeah.
ADHD. Yeah, so I feel like football and the like systematic racism doesn't help mental
Oh
health.
yes, 100%.
Yes,
It's been a big
yes,
issue here with the racism. Like, there was a tournament here a few months ago, where England was in the final. It was the Euros tournament, and there was like a penalty shootout, and there were three black players involved, and all three of them missed, and obviously that caused England to lose. But
yeah,
no one like congratulated them for even reaching the final. The first thing I saw was just racial abuse towards these three black
ugh,
players who represented the country in such a
yeah,
big stage, and like because they're obviously, like you said earlier, they don't see them as people. They see them as these like big celebrities.
yeah,
People don't realize like how hard hitting some abuse can be, like especially racial abuse. Like
oh
it's a
yeah.
lot to take in, and yeah, the racism definitely does not help at all.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because, like, for the longest time, I never saw and myself being black, but I grew up in a town where, like, it was a racially mixed town, and that was actually like the whole premise for the town is
Yeah,
they built the city for racial integration. And so I've been very blessed that I haven't had to deal with a lot of racism at all.
yeah,
But it took me a long time to figure out that that was going like that there like systematic racism was really a mental health issue too. Like it's
definitely.
really, really, really strongly affects people's psyche to be,
Like people don't really like, even like some people's like a jokey comment about someone's race, like that can even affect
yeah,
someone a lot, and it's like you need to think about what you say before you say it.
definitely. Yeah, and actually now that I think about it, I would get a lot of weird like I don't want to say reverse racism, but like I would get a lot of like racism from other black people. Like, well, why do you talk white, quote unquote, and stuff
Oh,
like
okay,
that. Yeah, I
yeah.
would get a lot of that. Or like, why are you're lighter, so you think you're better, or stuff like that. I would get a lot of
Oh,
that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And that can mess up your psyche too.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely.
Like, it's not nice to be honest. Like I think they just think, oh, they think it's a joke, but at the same time, it can
Yeah.
be hard hitting. Like there's just certain things that trigger different people, and you just need to think about what you say.
Yeah, no, you really do. It's funny you say that because I like I always like to put up memes and stuff like that, except
Yeah,
sometimes I always have to take a step back and go, okay, well, is this one going to trigger somebody or is it going to cuz I have a really morbid sense of humor at times. And for me, that works and it gets me through stuff at times, but that doesn't always get everyone else through, and a lot of times it
Yeah,
can be triggering and stuff like that. So I try to be respectful when I'm posting my stuff to make sure that it's not offensive to anybody else.
definitely.
Well, now, so usually I like to close with a quote and a joke. So I'm going to do
Okay.
that. So my quote is, just because no one else can heal or do your inner work for you doesn't mean you can, should, or need to do it alone. There's always people out there to help you. And then my joke is, all right, so how many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb?
No idea.
All right, well, the question is completely relative. It depends on if the light bulb really wants to change.
That is very true.
Yes.
That's a life. That's a life. That joke has a life lesson in itself.
It does. It really does. No, it really does. That's why I like that one. All right. Well, I gotta close down now. Thank you so much, Raj, for coming on and sharing
Thank
your
you very
time with
much.
me. I really
No,
appreciate it.
no, I really thank you for giving me this opportunity to, talk about open talk and like basically spread the message. It means a lot to me. So thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. And what's the website so people can go to it?
It's I think it's opentalk.uk. So yeah, if you want to check it out, or you could just find my Instagram page, which is underscore open talk, and you can find it through there.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right. And I got to give some shout outs to Jake Dante at Off the Mats podcast.
Hundred
And
percent.
yeah, definitely. And shout out to Tiana Taylor at Tiana underscore lowercase T Taylor underscore BJJ, who's one of my dear new podcast friends that I have now. So once again, thank you so much for coming on. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
No
And you
problem.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
You take care.
Bye.
Bye. So, guys, that was my time with Raj. Very, very informative person, charming, wonderful things that he's doing with Open Talk. I really wish him the best of luck in his university travels, and I really think he's going to make a really good therapist one day. So, whoever is going to be blessed with having him be their therapist is a really lucky person because he really does mean well. He really does want to help out, which is awesome. And I think that's one of the foundations that you need in a therapist. So, in closing, guys, I just want to say have a good afternoon, and I will speak at you guys later. Let's talk about it with Q. I'm listening. All right. Take care.